it going, Raider Nation? It's JT coming at you with another episode of the RaiderCast, your podcast for everything silver and black. Today, I'm going to be going over my picks for who the Raiders should bring in or bring back in free agency going into the 2023 offseason, officially starting on Wednesday, March 15th. Now, before I even get into that, first, I want to talk about the fact that we have $43 million in cap space now that Max Crosby has restructured. He's added $2.5 million to the next 3 years other than this season on his contract. So that brings us up $10 million from where we were before, only 30 active contracts. Now, to put that in perspective, we had 38 active contracts going into last offseason, and we made 22 free agent signings. Now, I'm not going to be going over 22 or even anything close to that number of free agent signings. That'd be a long ass video. I'm just going to be talking about the top picks that I think we should go after in terms of bringing back or just positions of need that I think we need to touch upon. Now, let's get into the video. But first, do not forget to like and subscribe to this channel. Like this video, comment down below what you think of my free agent choices, my free agent signings, who you think we should get in this offseason, and subscribe for more silver and black content because it's about to get crazy, it's about to get fun. Now, let's get right into the video. One of the first players I want to bring back is Jermaine Luminor. Now, we talked about on Twitter how Brandon Parker has been re-signed somehow to another contract, but Jermaine Luminor is an actual signing that we should do for right tackle. He was overhated and played really solid outside of a lot of penalties, which he can clean up pretty easily. He's also played in the McDaniel system before. He played in New England at right tackle for them before, so it's not like he doesn't know how to play in this system. So just another year on top of the years he's already had in it will be even better for him. He shut down some elite pass rushers down the stretch like Matt Judon and Nick Bosa, allowing 0 sacks against those players, and it would only cost about $5.5 million AAV. So in my opinion, a lot of bang for buck when you re-sign a Luminor. Got to keep consistency on the O-line, so that's why I think we bring him back. And the only place we're really going to upgrade is at guard, which I'm going to talk about later. Next player I want to mention is Mac Hollins. Should be a no-brainer in my opinion. An elite special team player. Really cheap contract he should come back for, and he's a really solid option, third, fourth, even fifth option on the offense. He had a career year last year, over 500 yards. He had a few touchdowns. He should absolutely be brought back. Along with that is Andrew Billings. He was a beast versus the run and should absolutely be brought back. He was our best defensive tackle by last season by far, bar none. Easily our best defensive tackle, but that legitimately good defensive tackle. Was like a top 10 run stuffer in the league. Chandler, Billings, and then a player I'm going to talk about later, and Mac should be a very solid D-line, because we'll be talking about a pass rusher later on, plus whoever we draft, which we should probably be drafting a defensive tackle or linebacker higher, but I'll be talking about that in another video. So for right now, just sign Andrew Billings. He should also be pretty decently cheap, so we don't have to worry about a major cap hit for Andrew Billings. Next player I want to talk about bringing back is DENZEL PERRYMAN. Now, there's the report of DENZEL PERRYMAN not being re-signed yet. He's going to test free agency last payday before he retires or just stops playing. But if he doesn't like what he sees out there, I would very much like for him to come back to us, because he was a very solid linebacker, our best linebacker since the 80s. So if you have someone really good, you might as well bring him back, and it should only really be a 1 or 2 year deal because he's on the other side of 30. He's getting older. Injuries has always been an issue in his career. Hasn't been super bad for us, but he's getting to that point where injuries should be a concern, but shouldn't be super expensive either. And plus, he got 2 interceptions last year and a sack, so he definitely can still make plays. Now, another person on the defensive side of the ball that I want to bring back is Rock Ya-Sin. It's a no-brainer in my opinion. Only allowed 1 touchdown and an 82 passer rating when targeted. Just straight up lockdown. Should be a very solid cornerback 1 for us. So definitely a very good option at CP1. Again, in the secondary, I'm going to be talking about Duron Harmon. Again, another no-brainer in my opinion. Was is older, but safeties, in my opinion, they can be a little bit older and still play really, really well. And Daron Harmon proved that. He has first pick six in his career with us. He had 2 interceptions. He allowed only a 70 passer rating when targeted, which is fucking insane for someone who's 32. He's the closer for a reason. He had some very good plays that should have closed out games. The pick six closed out the game versus the Texans. That major pass breakup versus the Cardinals that should have ended the game in overtime, but it didn't. Daron Harmon should absolutely be on our list to bring back. I think he was very solid for us last year and should be an absolute no-brainer. Talking about the offensive side of the ball. So there's not, other than Matt Collins, Josh Jacobs, and Jermaine Illuminor, there's not too many others I really want to talk about because we don't really need offense. We already are spending $89 million on the offense, and that is only with 18 players actively signed to the offense. So we are already spending a lot on the offense, and you don't want to spend too much because then you leave nothing for the defensive side of the ball. But there's 2 signings I want to make that will plug up some holes or just add some depth to a important part of our team. One of them is Nate Davis at right guard. He's coming out of Tennessee. He's a 26-year-old guard, 27-year-old guard who posted a 70.6 PFF grade. Again, PFF is not the end-all be-all in terms of how talented someone is, but he's an extremely solid right guard and should absolutely be targeted by the Raiders. A $7.4 million per year on average is really good for his age and would honestly make our line even better. The fact that we even had a competent O-line with Alex Bars as a starter and a rookie at guard is crazy in my opinion. It is absolutely nuts we're able to make that work. Adding Nate Davis to that line on top of Colton Miller, Andre James, Jermaine Illuminor, and a second-year pro and Dylan Parham should make our line an absolute perfectly fine line. The next player I want to talk about is Darius Slayton, that wide receiver. Now, he played for the Giants and obviously got a lot of targets or a lot more receptions, and maybe he would have gotten other teams because they had no receivers for a long time, at least the last few years, but he put up consistent 700-plus yard seasons. His hands are a little iffy on the, a little over 50% catch rate, but that's not really that good, but should be honestly a very solid addition to our offense. Adams, Renfro, Darius Slayton, Matt Collins as a wide receiver room is really good. On top of it, Darren Waller and Josh Jacobs, our quarterback will have a plethora, whoever it is, will have a plethora of weapons to throw to and a plethora of options that can make plays. Averages 15 yards per catch in his career, giving us an absolute burner in the offense. He also ran a 4.39 40 at the combine. So he's a fast guy. He's a quick guy. He will extend and make plays and just open up the field like someone like Ruggs did. Someone we didn't really have last season. We tried it with Tyron Johnson, I believe, but it didn't really work out. So now we have someone that can actually be consistently, putting up solid numbers, getting touchdowns, and just getting those big chunk plays will do wonders for our offense, which is already a pretty solid offense, but make it even better. Now the side of the football that everyone wants to target in free agency, which we should absolutely do, and that is the defense. And to start off, we're going to talk about the defensive line. And the big, not so splashy, but big free agent signing in the defensive tackle is DALVIN Tomlinson. On the Vikings, they do not have a lot of cap space left, so they should not be retaining him. They're really struggling to get under the cap by Wednesday. A lot of teams you're going to see letting go people, restructuring people. DALVIN Tomlinson should hit the market, and we should absolutely grab him. His AAV is only $8.5 million, which is really good for the production that he gets. He has a 79.1 pass rush grade from PFF. Again, not the end-all be-all, but we need a pass rushing defensive tackle, and he is absolutely that. He had 2.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble return, and 10 QB hits last season. And he also has experience in Graham's defense as he played on the Giants back in 2020. And he will be a monster on that line with Chandler, with Max, and with Billings, and plus whoever we bring in to back them up. It should do wonders for our D-line and should make it even better and actually give Max help, another pass rusher on that D-line that can help him get sacks, or even he can help DALVIN Tomlinson get sacks. I think it's not so much of a splash play because I don't want to spend too much on a defensive tackle, but we can get one in draft and we can get DALVIN Tomlinson to add to bolster that line. Another player to the D-line that I want to add is Marcus Davenport out of New Orleans. They're really struggling to get under cap. They have Derek Carr being signed, Jawan Johnson they just re-signed, and they're still, I think, about $17 million under the cap. So there's no way they can really re-sign Marcus Davenport, and his $3 million AAV is a steal. He has a 13.9 pressure percentage. Doesn't have a lot of sacks, but that pressure you can get up the middle is essential when talking about defensive tackles, because they don't get the sacks, they should generate the pressure. That's why when Max had 101 pressures in a season, that was fucking nuts from an edge rusher. But when you add in someone that can get the pressure up the middle, it really opens it up for Max and Chandler to get the sacks that they need. It was a really, really good run stuffer. So it's almost like Cleveland Ferrell, but not a top 4 pick. Talking about linebacker, there is one linebacker other than Denzel Perryman I want to even touch in free agency, and it should be the end-all be-all of linebackers that we need for at least the next few years, and that is TREMAINE EDMUNDS out of Buffalo. It's been revealed that they're most likely not re-signing him, or I believe it's Jordan Poyer, but Bills fans are saying TREMAINE EDMUNDS not coming back will be a huge blow to their defense. He has over 100 plus tackles every single season he's been in the league, has 6.5 career sacks, 5 interceptions, 35 pass deflections in his career, and just a straight up baller. 2-time Pro Bowler, and only $11 million AAV. I mean, that's a good amount for an inside linebacker. But when you had literally no good coverage linebackers in your existence in the 21st century, you need to go get an elite interior linebacker, an elite coverage linebacker, and will immediately make our defense like thousands of times better, like 100 times better, because we'll actually be able to cover the middle of the field. Travis Kelce will actually have an issue with one of our linebackers covering him. So we should absolutely do everything we can to get him. Obviously, don't overpay, but if we can get him, land him, and give him a 3 to 4 year deal, because he is also still really, really young. Finally, I'm going to talk about CJ Gardner-Johnson, who's a safety coming out of Philly, who they traded for to make that Super Bowl run. He was really, really good with Philly. 6 interceptions. We haven't had a ball hawk safety since Reggie Nelson back in 2016, if you remember that, and has decent pass rush ability for those blitz packages. He just offers a lot. 13 million AAV, a little on the higher end in terms of safeties, but should be well worth it to just bolster that secondary and make it a threat to pass into, because if you have CJ Gardner-Johnson on the other side, the QBs are going to be a little hesitant to throw deep, especially if they aren't able to get it off cleanly. So it should offer a lot of big play potential by re-signing him. But anyways, that is my choices for the Raiders free agency. That is 12 choices I think that we should absolutely go after. And obviously there's going to be way more than that, because again, like I said, only 30 active contracts at the moment. So we have a lot of people that we can add, and on top of the draft picks, on top of the reserve contracts, on top of the undrafted free agents we can pick up, on top of trades that I didn't even talk about in this video. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Let me know how you guys feel about my list of free agents, because I think that every single one of these, if we get even half of these guys, our team will be that much better going into 2023. Anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, Raider Nation.